Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to Let's Talk Ed with Professor Chris. I am very excited for many reasons, but welcome to, once again, the best college podcast where we continue to explore the big questions about education, careers, and the future. But most importantly, the show that is empowering minds one episode at a time. I am still your host, Professor Chris. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Happy Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Day. This is one of those, I actually don't even like calling it a holiday. I think I like to refer to it as a commemoration of this special day. Because every time I look back at this day, I probably wouldn't even be here. Beautiful country of the United States of America. The freedom that this day Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King has provided for myself and you to be here to actually have a voice, to speak, the freedom to do what we're doing today. Hey, who knows? I probably wouldn't be doing this podcast. So once again, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Please commemorate it. Take a moment to really reflect on the benefits this day has brought to us. Well, this is going to be a segment of Ask Professor Chris. I got 3 questions that I'm going to go through very quickly, but also very carefully. Once again, please put your comments and questions in the YouTube comment sections. I will review them all, as I'm about to do today. I'm going to try and answer 3 questions today, okay? So let's get right to it. Question number 1, which I've entitled, Trump's Sweeping Education Plans. Panic. So what is Trump's sweeping education plans? Well, first of all, I know there's been a lot of concerns about what is going to happen when our newly elected president takes office. I usually don't like getting into politics, but this is one of those episodes that I carefully and respectfully get through it so to calm people down. Reason is, most students are concerned, and I'm guessing especially international students, as to what is going to happen. My first thing is calm down, okay? What we're hearing about our newly elected president's agenda or reform really has to do with the education system, mainly the Department of Education. I'm going to get into that in a second. But first of all, I do want to remind everyone that there is a lot that needs to be done in the education front. We're talking specifically college, okay? It doesn't happen overnight where decisions are made to change their education system rapidly. We got bigger issues in our education system, college-wise again. We got program of studies that needs to be reviewed. Okay, we have the whole education system that needs to be reassessed to kind of see what is good, what needs to be improved. My biggest one is actually what degrees our students are attaining, given that now students have the opportunity for skill trades. Do we all have to go to 4-year institutions? These are bigger issues or concerns that I think we need to be addressing. Our labor force needs more than 500 million people to employ. These are some of the bigger issues that we need to really focus on. But I get it, okay? So what's going to happen? Let's get right into the Department of Education, which we're being told that it might be gone very soon. So what is the Department of Education responsible for? Number 1, federal grants programs. Number 2, they oversee federal student loan programs and set participation rules. They collect data, enrollment, crime in school, staffing, 4, they enforce civil rights laws related to schools. And of course, I think one of the agenda is why do we have all the student loan forgiveness, which actually also happens to be under the Department of Education. So I think the problem really has to do with the last 2 points, which is enforcing civil rights laws related to schools and of course against student loan forgiveness. So once again, even if this becomes, let's say the Department of Education doesn't exist today, how is that going to affect our institutions? As I've just stated out or laid out what the Department of Education is responsible for. Okay. Yes, indirectly it might affect what we're doing right now, but there's no need to panic because our education system will still run and we'll find different ways of making sure that students are getting the loans and financial aid, what have you. Okay. So again, I just wanted to very quickly get through this here so we kind of relax. Let's wait. Let's wait till our new president-elect gets into office and see what happens. But again, any action taken might not be immediate. It takes a long time for new rules and new principles, new strategies to take effect in our college systems. Okay, so very quickly, I hope this helped with my first question. What is going to happen when our new president-elect takes office so far as education goes? Okay, let's get into the second one. Boy, I picked all the questions that one way or the other is going to get me into politics. But again, that's what you asked for, and that's what I'm going to address. Second question is Black enrollment dips at top universities. Why? So let's start with affirmative action. I personally think it is time. Let me digress a little bit. As we sit today, as I'm discussing or I'm hosting this podcast, it is fair to say affirmative action is dead, gone. Yes. And we can look at all the pros and cons. Personally, I think it is about time that people, minorities, Black, what have you, right, are seen and judged for their capabilities. And what I mean by that is it is about time that people trust that minorities are intelligent, are capable of achieving or being in institutions not based on their race. I think it's about time. And we can argue this whichever way you want. When affirmative action started, and I've done a podcast about this, we could go way back and look at why it started. The reason was to give minorities and Blacks an opportunity. Unfortunately, that was misunderstood for you don't have the capability, you're not intelligent enough. So once again, I personally think it is time, fair or unfair, to prove that we are capable and we can compete and we can be in these institutions. Now, the data that is out there shows one for Harvard was 18%, now we're down to 14%. So we're looking at that as a dip. What if people actually, Black minorities, don't want to go to Harvard? I think nobody's looking at that aspect of the equation. Maybe people just don't want to go. Let's start with that. On the other hand, at Yale, it's still the same, 14%, 14%. It hasn't changed. So I think, once again, it's about time that when we have presence in these institutions, that nobody is immediately thinking about why we're there or making excuses for why we're there. And that's just the way I want to leave our second question. Black enrollment dips at top universities. Okay. My last question, again, I wanted to make this very quick because I have a lot of questions to answer and I hope to tackle these questions as we go on very quickly. The last question, maybe out of politics a little bit, or maybe not, is NIL. What is NIL? Show me the money. So NIL, if you haven't heard of it, is a reference to sports, name, image, and likeness, NIL. The NCAA, that's the National Collegiate Athletic Association, Division I board, okay, may I ask Division I board directors, approved what we're calling the NIL June 30th, 2021, that allowed college students nationwide, college athletes, nationwide to profit from their own name, image, and likeness. So if you remember, back in the day, and I've always said this, and I've always, actually even before this came into place, was most of us in this big conference schools, Division I schools, probably have attended some football games, some basketball games, even baseball or soccer games. Stadium is full, and people have to pay to go see this athletic activities. So these institutions were making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And every time you ask, who is generating all these funds? Question is, why are all the student athletes pulling all the spectators, all these funds, while they're the ones performing, and yet they're not getting a dime for all their efforts? And what you're going to hear is, oh yeah, we provide them with scholarships, we provide them with financial aid, we provide them with room and board. Okay, yeah, we're still making millions and millions of dollars. So how much of those funds are going into the students' education, right? And people have argued over the years, maybe the students could get some money. And now we get students getting into trouble when people give them money on the side or as gifts, right? Because it is against the NCAA law. Well, so fast forward 2020, you might have heard of the name Ed O'Bannon, who sued the NCAA for using students' name. Actually, this was a case with EA Sports, where they were making money using different students with zero compensation, may I add. So based on that law, or based on Mr. Ed O'Bannon suing EA Sports, here we are today. So I, for one, I'm all for it. On the other side, now we got to really help the student athletes really focus on their sports a little bit, and maybe more so on their education. But to me, this once again proves why our college system is very, very, very important, because this is all revenue that is still coming out of our college system. And I've already discussed sports, athletics in our institutions, and how student athletes and students in general should approach how they should be involved, how they should participate, and how to plan their future around that. And the reason I say that is, again, we cannot forget the 1% that can actually get into it. I've already done a podcast on this here, and we can go back and look at it. But again, today's question is, what is NIL? Show me the money. I hope I have explained this, and I hope this helps. Students, athletes in Division I schools. Once again, we got Division II, Division III. If you can really stand out and use your name, image, and likeness to get paid, that is where we are. And yes, college athletes are still provided with their scholarships and financial aid, but this is kind of an added bonus, which is a huge bonus, okay? All right, so that is really it for today. Those are my top 3 questions that I wanted to answer. Please put your questions in here. I will take care of those questions. I'm very excited also for good news that I want to break, hopefully the next episode, but most importantly, to make sure that you have all the answers you need to go through your college smoothly. Still empowering minds one episode at a time. Of course, don't drink beer, but live beer. Balance, eat well, exercise, and rest. It's going to be a great year. Looking forward to it, and once again, happy MLK Day. Take a moment to reflect. Thank you, and see you all next week.